All right, let's get right into it. It feels like AI is pretty much the only thing anyone's talking about these days. But you see these crazy high valuations, celebrities jumping in, and you just have to wonder, have we hit the peak? Is this whole thing a bubble just waiting to pop? Or is the revolution just getting started?
And if you were looking for, a sign of the times, this is it. Yes, that is Jake Paul, the influencer, the boxer, who is now also an investor in one of the hottest AI startups out there. And he says the future is unfathomable. Honestly, that one word, it just perfectly captures the wild level of hype we're all seeing right now.
So let's start right there. Let's look at some of the really clear signs that we might be in the middle of a classic investment frenzy.
And it's not just Jake Paul. You've got rapper Meek announcing he's building an AI tool he says is going to change the world. But it's not just a one-way street either. Big-time venture capital firms like Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z, are apparently reaching out directly to influencers and Twitch streamers to cut deals. The whole line between tech investing and influencer marketing, it is getting very, very blurry.
And what's behind all that celebrity buzz? Well, it's this number, $2.2 billion. That's the valuation for Cognition Labs, the company Jake Paul is backing. They're making an AI coding assistant. I mean, that is just a staggering number, and it definitely suggests the market is feeling, well, let's just say, very enthusiastic.
Okay, so while the financial world is absolutely buzzing with hype, there is a totally different side to this story. So let's pivot away from the money for a second and look at the metal, where real, tangible progress is actually being made. So let me introduce you to Unitree. This is a Chinese robotics company that has quietly become a world leader in physical robots, specifically these four-legged robot dogs. And we're not talking about concepts here. These machines are real, and they are basically everywhere now.
And they have the valuation to prove it. Unitree is planning on going public later this year with a target IPO valuation of $7 billion. Now, this isn't just speculative VC money. This is the public market putting a price on a company that makes actual physical hardware.
And when you look at their market position, that valuation starts to make a lot of sense. See, Unitree isn't just a player in the robot dog world. They pretty much are the entire space. They control 70% of the global market. And what's fascinating is that while this tech was pioneered by companies in the US, like Boston Dynamics, Unitree is the one who figured out how to scale production and just totally dominate. Now, that is real-world progress.
Okay, so let's jump from physical robots to the creative world, because AI is making some very real waves in an industry that's famous for its huge budgets and super long timelines, Hollywood.
OpenAI, the company that gave us ChatGPT, well, they're making a pretty strategic move. They're actually producing their own animated film called Critters, and the goal here is pretty simple. Prove to a very skeptical Hollywood that AI is ready for the big time by making a movie way faster and way cheaper than anyone thought possible. And when you put OpenAI's goals next to the traditional way of doing things, the difference is just, well, it's stark. A typical animated movie can easily cost over $150 million and take 5 years or more to finish. Critters is aiming for a budget under $30 million, and they want to get it done in just 9 months. That's not just a little better, that's a potential game changer for the entire industry.
But there's a catch, isn't there always? Elon Musk pointed out that, sure, the production budget might be $30 million, but the real cost might be hidden. It's in the insane amount of computing power needed to actually generate the film. He sarcastically put the number at $30 billion in compute, and he's making a really important point. These AI models run on incredibly expensive hardware, a cost that usually doesn't show up in the headline number.
All right, so we've touched on hardware in Hollywood. Let's look at one more area where we're seeing some real tangible progress: the unbelievably complex world of video games.
And speaking of Elon Musk, he mentioned recently that he had a chat with the creators of a game called EVE Online. Now, if you don't know it, EVE is famous for being one of the most complex, massive multiplayer games ever made. And apparently, they talked about a potential collaboration.
But here's the really cool part. The goal isn't just to use AI to make a slightly better version of a game we already have. No. The ambition here is to create a completely new kind of gaming experience. Something so dynamic, so complex, that it would be literally impossible to build without a powerful AI driving the whole thing.
And that's exactly why EVE Online is the perfect partner for something like this. The game is legendary for its complexity. I mean, players run these massive economies and have gigantic space battles. People joke that it's basically spreadsheets in space.
It's the perfect sandbox to find out what a truly AI-driven game could even look like.
Okay, so let's bring these two different stories together. Because on the one hand, we've got all the signs of a financial bubble. And on the other hand, we have undeniable, tangible, real-world technological progress.
And hey, it's not just us asking these questions. Kevin Rose, who's a really seasoned tech investor, warned not too long ago that from a VC perspective, the AI space might heating up a little bit too much. And when the insiders start talking about things overheating, that's a pretty strong signal that the hype might be getting way ahead of the reality.
So really, it all boils down to this contrast right here. In the hype column, you've got the celebrity investors, the talk of unfathomable futures, and these eye-watering valuations that don't seem connected to anything real. But then, you look at the progress column, you've got companies dominating global markets with actual robots, you have real disruption happening in Hollywood, and you have the blueprint for entirely new ways to play.
Which leaves us with this final big question. Does all this financial hype, this potential bubble, does it mean that actual AI progress has hit a wall? Or is it possible that these two things are separate, that the financial frenzy can go up and down, but the underlying technological progress just keeps chugging along no matter what? What do you think is really going on?